Hey, welcome back to True-Moto-Resto, and on today's video we're going to do a walk around and a startup of the Buell 1125R. It's been about 10 months since the bike's been run, so it's due for a bit of a heat cycle. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so this is my 2008 Buell 1125R. I'll do a quick walk around of the bike, and then we'll back it up to the doors and run it for a while, heat cycle it. It's been 10 months since this bike was started, and like all the bikes, I like to make sure that they're run once in a while just to keep everything lubricated, and I also just make sure that I put it through a full heat cycle. I don't want to just kind of run it lukewarm and then shut it off. Then you deal with condensation and the exhaust system and the engine and all that kind of stuff. So I want to get the fluids hot, oil hot, coolant, etc., and then we'll park it. But yeah, so this bike, I think like many Buells, or all Buells really, they're either a love it or hate it kind of design. They're certainly not everybody's taste. Very unique, obviously. I mean, I didn't like these bikes when they first came out, but since then I've come to appreciate the uniqueness of the design, we'll call it. I think Eric Buell had some pretty cool concepts, ideas, and values about what he was trying to create with the Buell bikes. Mass centralization and weight saving and all kinds of cool stuff. So on the 1125R, so the previous generation will be something like this Buell Firebolt XB9R. We'll see that in a different video. But in this bike, the fuel is in the frame, and the oil for the engine oil is in the swing arm, with because it's got the Harley Davidson derivative engine in it, whereas this bike is not air cooled, it's a liquid cooled Buell 1125 V-twin. This engine is actually made by Rotax in Austria, BRP, Bombardier Recreational Products, Rotax. It's not an American-made engine at all. And I guess just based on demand from the market, Buell decided to give liquid a try, and they partnered with Rotax to develop this and build this engine. So I'm not sure how similar this engine is to the Aprilia engines. But anyway, somebody out there who knows more about these than I do would probably be able to add a comment on that. But the fuel is still in the frame. The oil is not in the swing arm on this bike. It is in the engine. I think it might be a dry sump or a semi-dry sump, but it is still a V-twin. These side pods on each side house the radiators. And I don't know if you can tell from the video, but I guess you can tell from that view, the width of that front fairing is significant. It's very wide, has a really unique look to it. And again, it just kind of adds to that love it or hate it type of design and look of the Buell bikes. I think this bike looks really good. Something else that's kind of cool about the Buell motorcycles is there's no paint on these. This is all kind of pre-colored plastic. So same with the yellow XB9R over there. No paint on the bodywork. It's all pre-colored. When I got this bike, it had been modified with some aftermarket items, but fortunately the previous owner was very vigilant in his care of the bike, and he kept everything that he took off it, and then I put it all back on. I took all the aftermarket stuff off. So what he had done, just to make the bike more comfortable for him to ride, was he had removed the factory foot pegs and he had put lowered pegs on it. just to give him, he was fairly tall in the leg, I guess, long in the leg, so he wanted more leg room, so he put they dropped maybe about 1.5 to 2 inches, the pegs that he put on. He also put bars on that clamped around the fork tube and kind of gave you another couple of inches of bar height. There was an aftermarket double bubble windshield on it. There was a gel seat on there as well, and a couple of other minor things, but I basically he kept everything bagged. All the original stuff was in bags, and it was very well looked after, so I put it all back to the stock configuration. When I got the bike, it came with a barely worn, nice original Buell jacket. And this bike is because it's 2008, it's the Eric Buell Anniversary Signature Edition, 25 years. And the bike has, there's about 8,000 kilometers on the bike, so it doesn't have a lot of miles on it. And the other thing it has is a Eric Buell Racing ECU installed. And I think the idea behind that is there were some, I think, temperamental fueling issues at certain RPM, maybe flat spots, and the racing ECU just kind of makes it just kind of smoothens all of that out, is my understanding. I do have the original ECU for it as well. So again, the previous owner he took a lot of good care of the bike, and it was maintained well and ridden fairly regularly, but not excessively. The other thing I have for this bike as well, it's in the other building, is there's a little bit of a scratch here in the side pod. You can't really see it very well, but maybe there you can kind of see it, scratch. I have a brand new one of these in the bag in the other building for it. So yeah, it's in really nice shape. I would say there are not too many of these bikes out there in this condition or this mileage. And the other thing that's kind of cool for back in the day was, I mean, these are LED turn signals in the mirrors. So that was kind of, probably ahead of its time, maybe you would say. I don't know how many bikes were putting LED turn signals in the mirrors back in 2008. Of course, you've got the signature radial brakes on the Buell as well, and also the kind of the underslung muffler and exhaust system, which again was part of kind of the mass centralization, keeping the mass of the bike down low for better stability and that kind of thing. This pipe, I think it looks better than some of the earlier kind of Meineke muffler type of look to them that the XB9R has on it, but I think there's a lot of folks that would still say it just looks really ugly, but I honestly think it's just unique. It kind of looks cool. There's plenty of bikes out there with the conventional pipes on them. One of the things I enjoy about collecting motorcycles is collecting bikes that just look different, or there's kind of different engineering approaches, or they're just different than the other bikes. So when you look around at my collection, there's something different, whether it's it could be headlight configurations, it could be exhaust pipe configurations, it could be colors, it could be anything. I just kind of like the diversity and the different ideas that the companies come up with for their motorcycles. It's just kind of a cool hobby. I think this bike also looks really good in the back end. Again, there's a lot of folks that might not like that rear license plate bracket, but I don't mind it at all. And again, this bike's going to have to get a bit of a cleaning, because if you can see here, it's dusty. It's been sitting around for too long, so while it's out, it'll get a cleaning, and I might even venture into putting new brake pads on it, because I think I might put this one on the road this year. It's not a bike that I've ridden as yet, unfortunately. I bought it a few years ago. I kind of brought it up into the shop, and then with everything going on around, you know, COVID and other things. I just never got around to getting a safety done on the bike. So it's got basically new tires on it, and I think the brakes will be fine, but I bought new EBC brake pads and everything for it anyway, so I think I'll venture into, I'm not sure how difficult these are. I do have a manual for it, how hard they are to get off and deal with that, but we'll figure that out. And so there it is. Now we'll back it up to the doors, and we'll fire it up for the first time in 10 months. See how that goes. That wasn't too bad. Still a very cold morning here. That's why you're seeing a little bit of smoke coming out of the exhaust pipe. It's still only about 5 degrees outside, 5 Celsius, so we'll turn on the fan. The needle lights up when you rev it too. It's kind of interesting. Burning off the exhaust system, so I usually coat everything in WD-40, so some of that's still burning off. Very distinctive V-twin sound to it. The fan's finally kicked on. I like to hear that fan kick on and off a few times so I know that it's cycle's going where I want it to go. I don't want to turn this thing off before it's warm enough. I run it for quite a while and you can still see the WD-40 burning off the pipe. So yeah, I'm standing outside because despite my best efforts with the fan and having it at the back door, there was quite a bit of exhaust fumes and all the oil burning off the pipe kind of left it a little bit toxic in there. So I'm stood outside while that clears out. But yeah, I always spray the pipe on that with WD-40 because it kind of tends to go kind of chalky colored just from the heat. But the WD-40, one, it stops it rusting, and two, it just kind of keeps it looking a lot nicer. Preserves it a little bit better. But the downside is as it gets hot, it burns off and you get a bunch of that nasty smoke. But anyway, you do what you have to do. So yeah, the fan just kicked off. Even though I shut the bike off, it was cooling down, so I'm satisfied that it got warm enough. And yeah, we'll probably end up doing some brake work on it. Probably doesn't need the brakes, but I'm going to put them on anyway. It's got a brand new rear tire on it. I think there's probably about 50 kilometers on that rear tire, a Diablo Rosso 2. And then we'll get it off to the place to get it safetied, and then we'll get it on the road. The other thing I have never bothered to look into with this, I know I do have the PIN number for it. It was written down by the previous owner in the information that I have, but I guess it's part of the security system. You can enter the PIN somewhere, somehow on this thing, but that'll stay up there and illuminated for a couple of minutes, and then eventually it'll turn off. One thing I'm not keen on with the Buells is this is not a flip-up cap. It actually comes right off. So I'm not a big fan of that. My Suzuki M109R has the same thing. I much prefer the flip-up caps where you don't have to set the cap up on the gas pump or on the seat there or somewhere else. But it's just the way it is. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. Maybe I'll record doing the brakes on it as well, and I'll post that. But yeah, stay tuned. There'll be another video coming on the XB9R Firebolt, because I have to get that one fired up as well. Thanks for watching.